Alright, here's review number 38 for the Ninja Turtles Trilogy on the original Nintendo. It's 1989, and coming off the heels of the hugely successful arcade game released earlier that year, Konami decides to crank out a console game featuring the awesome foursome through its subdivision Ultra Games. But is it anything like the arcade game? To put it bluntly, no. As you'll soon see, this game is a very different creature from its predecessor. Starting out in an overhead view similar to the first Legend of Zelda game, things change quickly once you enter either the sewers or an open building as the game showcases some decent platforming fare. It also pits you against all kinds of weird and wacky enemies like UFOs, chainsaw-wielding maniacs, and some kind of freaky alien thingamajigs, all part of a menagerie of enemies that only a stoner could possibly think of. And of course you have the standard boss fights at the end of each level, although it isn't much of a fight when the enemy boss is running around like a headless chicken. The button setup is easy to navigate. The A button jumps, the B button attacks, the start button lets you not only pause the game but switch between any of the 4 turtles at any time, while the select button allows you to switch between weapons if you've picked up, say, a set of shuriken. I won't spoil much more, but I will end this portion of the review with the most frustrating part of the game, the underwater stage. Here, you need to swim through the local dam and disarm a set of 8 bombs that the Foot Clan have planted. Sounds simple, right? Wrong! Not only do you have a total of 2 minutes to accomplish this task, but it's made all the more difficult by things like laser beams and electric seaweed! What the fucking hell, man? What the hell would seaweed have against turtles? Moving on. It wasn't until 1990 that Konami finally got the right idea in their heads and ported the classic arcade game over to the NES under the title of TMNT 2, the arcade game. Now, if you've seen my review for the original arcade game, you'll have a good idea of what to expect, so I'll keep this bit short and sweet. Everything about this game is a major step up from the first installment, the enemies are taken straight from the show, the music is spot on, and the game is overall a lot more fun to play. Sadly, technical limitations removed a lot of the charm of the arcade version, like being able to handle 4 players at once. However, the folks at Ultra Games made up for this by throwing in a couple of extra stages which, sadly, have no real bearing on the plot line of the game. That said, however, the NES did as great a job of preserving the arcade game as an 8-bit system would allow, and I give them major points for that. And at last we come to the third and final chapter in the NES trilogy, the Manhattan Project. While vacationing in Florida and watching their friend April's latest news report, the Shredder suddenly strikes and reveals that he's not only taken the ravishing reporter hostage, but he's also raised the entire island of Manhattan. It's here that the game puts you in control as the Turtles cut their vacation short and put a stop to Shredder's plans. The graphics and sound on show are slightly improved, and just like the second game, the Turtles have individual super attacks that can be performed by pressing the A and B buttons simultaneously. You can also pick up where you left off if you die, just like in the first game. I should also note that with a few exceptions, the majority of the enemies and bosses are once again pulled straight from the 1987 cartoon and include such characters as Slash the Evil Turtle, Ground Chuck, and Leatherhead among others. Overall, these games are actually not as bad as one might think at first glance. While they may have their share of problems, they're also challenging and fun, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day.